Alright, it's another day of dev videos, and we'll be working on the ICBM render code again. Now, I've already got it mostly functional, so we can now use JSON code to describe how things render. And for those who are familiar with the JSON stuff, this is not Minecraft JSON. This is a custom implementation for 1.7.10. Now, 1.7.10 did not have a JSON system whatsoever for any of its content. 1.8 was the first introduction of a render-based system, and as they went, they started converting more and more stuff to JSON. It's highly likely that by the time some of the newer versions come out, before they discontinue the Java version, almost everything in their mod or game will be JSON driven. This is where a lot of their other versions have been heading, where they've been using data and script files, and this is what a lot of games already do, is use JSON to kind of make everything functional. But yeah, so let's get this loaded up here, and I can show that we got the micro missile rendering again. It's nothing major. I mean, it needs some work. As I thought, the yaw rotation roll and stuff was going to be slightly skewed and messed up. Good thing is we do have commands to fix this. The icon is not working, which will take a few tries to figure out what's up with it. But nothing major. I mean, also we got this loaded with the default skin now. Now, I'm still not sure when we're going to get the medium missile implemented. It's going to be a work in progress. As soon as we finish it, we're going to get the fueling system added, like I've already noted before, and hopefully we'll be able to do that sometime this week. But it's a little sketchy, as I got a bit of homework to do this weekend before I can do other things. And then next week is midterm week, so yeah. And on top of this, I've got several job interviews over the next few days. As I noted yesterday, I am trying to get some money through Patreon. Now, I need to reiterate on this because a few people commented asking why I was asking for money, and I'm not talking about the people who commented on YouTube, because people commented about the Twitter post because the YouTube video only got 3 views. I mean, yeah, I don't get anything on YouTube, and it makes me question why I even make these videos sometimes. But I'm not trying to scam you guys out of the money, which was the #1 thing that was brought up. The money that is being asked for will guaranteedly go towards paying to keep me in a place where I can live and work. While I don't get squat, not just from you guys, I am planning on trying to get some kind of job. I'm going back through my list. I literally have a list of every place here in the area that offers jobs, and I'm just knocking one off of another until I find a place. Not sure if that's going to work, because that's the whole reason I don't have a job right now, is I went through that list and nobody gave a shit about a software developer that, even though I have multiple years of experience making mods and games and doing other things, I have one of those problems where it's really hard to show that experience in writing. But yeah, so we'll go and do that stuff. It's even sad about that is, you ever been called by McDonald's and told you're overqualified? That's the epitome of knowing that you're kind of fucked in a job situation. But some of the changes that were made to make the rendering system work is I did have to tweak this a little bit, because it was double registering all the renders. I did have to tweak our item JSON render system. It was not using that stack-based content ID we were grabbing. Luckily, that was pretty easy. There's already an interface for iJSON render stuff that passed in the rendered object. Now, this interface right here is used for everything. Used for the entities, used for the tiles, used for blocks, used for everything pretty much. Actually, blocks it doesn't really work for, but you could try. But yeah, I had to implement this method, use the stack-based system, so there's a stack passed in here. And then I had to implement this one to declare all the content IDs. Now, the content IDs, of course, are the missile casings, so that wasn't too hard to deal with. So that's been rectified and handled. Now, the parts we've got to fix is, of course, we got to get some JSON rendering code going. And we got to do this for several pieces. And there's a lot of work needing to be done here. And to be honest, I really wish I built a GUI editor for all this stuff. And I might have to just spend some time doing that here if I don't get incapacitated by the demo work I have to get done today or later this week. Or later next week, actually, because if they don't do anything today, it'll take me weeks to get back in again. I don't even understand that process. All I understand is that I'm going to have to shell out money that I don't have, which means probably loans, and I hate loans. I'm already pretty much $35,000 in student debt now. That's the only way I've been able to pay for college, is taking loans from the government, which, yeah, I think its interest rates go up next year too. So let's see, let's go ahead and just focus on the rendering code here, and I need to figure out why the inventory code isn't working. You know, maybe is it just the icon not registered correctly? No, it looks fine. We'll go ahead and boot this up again, and we'll just work on the micro missile for the moment. I've only got like 30 minutes anyway, so one missile at a time, and then I'll hit the small one up at the standard up. We got to go through a lot of the machines after we get this done and get them switched over to calling for the JSON render code as well. Right now they, I think, use the old system, which is iCustom Missile Render, which is an interface for rendering missiles. That is completely obsolete now. It's not even used by the missile code. So if people actually know, I think I left it in the missile code, so it should work. But I'm gonna outmode it as much as possible. And I don't actually think I'm gonna have to really mess with the machines much now I'm thinking about it, because I think a lot of them call back towards the actual missile render system. If they don't, I'm gonna switch them all to that. That way we get a lot better handling, and we don't have to do as much work to get this done. And hopefully, if other mod developers want to implement support and stuff, they can go ahead and utilize a lot of the functionality, so they don't have to do a lot of work either. Would be kind of cool to see a lot of different mod developers start implementing different explosives and different missile casings and various things. Some Thaumcraft stuff would be kind of cool. We've actually hit that up at least a couple times here. Right now, I need to bring the add-on back up because we had some corruption, we had some Hungry Node missiles. Pretty fun stuff. Okay, so third person is kind of wacky. First person is scaled completely wrong. And it's about the major issue, actually. So, item entity, you know, that's actually fine. I don't really care. I actually do need to turn off fancy graphics, though. Yeah, you can't see the shadows underneath items unless you have fancy graphics on. So yeah, let's look at that real quick. Looks like I just need to remove the centering off this. I don't know which one, though, because it's only, I want to say, half a block off. You know what, let's load up the in-game system and then sit here and toy with the in-game command system. Now we do have a way of editing things. So VE debug, let's see, render, load data, and then VE debug, load state, and it's item entity. Let's go ahead and do output here. Man, I did not get enough sleep last night. I slept for like about an hour and a half and then got straight back to work. Okay, well, that's not good. I don't think we can even change the rotation code if it's like that. So it's set, offset. Let's just zero it out. Hey, that's perfect, actually. Let's actually bump the Y just by a little bit, actually. Just so it doesn't bob into the ground. Yeah, that works really, really well. So the Y value needs to be up by, we set to 0.2, the other one needs to be 0. That shows how well that model is actually centered, and that shows probably how crummy the old code was when it doesn't work. Actually, you know what I'm thinking of? I think the current item render code auto centers everything by 0.5. But yeah, that looks nice, though. I always like it when the renders look really nice like this, because, yeah, it's kind of cool. Looks like the mothership has landed. I think it's like a Men in Black movie. I think it's like what I want to say the second one. So I think the first one had the cockroach in it. Yeah, first one had the cockroach in it. The second one had the alien bug creature, or not the alien bug creature, the alien vine creature that came down in a little capsule. Okay, so then we want to do third person, because first person you can't really notice at the moment. So this means we want to go. We want to load state. Yeah, you can tell from my spelling mistakes here that I definitely have not had sleep. So load state item dot equipped. Okay, cool, that actually loaded. And we're going to do an output on the data here so I can see what it is. Okay, so I think all I need to do is change the offset. There should be a rotation value for this. I am amazed. It's not a rotation value. You know what probably happened is I probably started looking at the render code and was like, you know what, we'll just do this from scratch, and I didn't finish copying it all from the code. That's what it feels like has happened. So we'll do set offset. Right now our offset is 0.1, negative 0.3, and then 0.2. That's exactly what I just typed in, and why didn't... Oh, because I messed up here. This is a point. Okay, so we know that's our x direction. So that's down. That's up. It's not bad. It's about the right height. We just gotta move it back. And you know, we're having one of those really weird days where there's no such thing as just move back. It's one of those, you gotta move it back and then move it sideways. This is the reason I don't really like Minecraft rendering. The reason I need an in-game editor is what I really need. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, it doesn't quite look like how you would actually hold one of these. I imagine somebody would either, if they're going to hold it with one hand, they would grab it around the fuselage, but I don't really feel like messing with the rotation code on this today. If somebody else wants to like sit here and toy with this, they can go for it and pull request the changes. After all, this is JSON driven now, so you can do exactly what I'm doing in game and then do that, and then that will give you the same exact results. Apparently, this is all 0.4, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that works out pretty well. So now we just got to do the first person. Now the first person, you can see it down there. So the first thing we want to do is, one, we got to load everything up. So load state, that should be item.first. Trying to decide if I should actually get an energy drink or something. I think I still got one in the fridge, but after this I can't even buy those anymore. I can't even buy a new headset. That's how fucked up on money I am right now. I was hoping to actually be able to get one of those, but we're stuck with this crappy desktop mic from 2001. Now if I can find my mic stand, we can use that studio grade one that I had for a while, now that I actually finally have software to fix the issue. And then hopefully we'll be able to get some little better quality videos out here with better quality sound. I know this one's got some issues. It's been picking up a lot of background noise. It probably has been picking up a lot of echoes too off of the game. And hell, I don't even have my audio on either. I've got the headset taken off. So I don't even know what you guys are hearing audio-wise. For all I know, there's a video playing in the background. I could be screwing myself over audio-wise. So we got the state updated. We just needed to hit output. Okay, so angles look good. So what we need to do is we just need to set the scale. I think I'm gonna up the scale a little more. Looks good. It's really hard to tell what's going on with that missile in the corner though, because even though I up the scale, I'm not quite sure where it's rendering position-wise. So it may look small there, but as soon as I bring it closer to the camera, it may start to look a lot bigger than it really is. The hell, we'll just zero out the offset. Yeah, see, like I just brought it right next to my face. Yeah, that's how you can know the scale is a bit too large. So I'm going to drop the scale down again. That's more appropriate. And then we want to do the offset now. Let's try, yeah, okay, that is the Y value. That's a bit surprising when you actually get these, they actually behave as Y values. Actually, leave it there. What's this look like? Yeah, that's not bad. We just need to move it over. Okay, that brings it towards me. Let's try negative. That pushes it away from me. So we're running into another one of those situations like we just had with the third-person code, is that there's no such thing as I can just move something sideways without having to move it forward or back at the same time. Or I can do that. That actually does work. And it looks like you can. Looks like you're hitting somebody. By the way, there is going to be code here eventually. If you're going to hit somebody with one of these and it has a impact fuse in it, it will go off. We're actually going to be adding Fallout mini nukes here pretty soon, and you'll be able to do a super mutant style football rush at somebody. I don't commend that type of behavior, but we're going to go ahead and add the logic to it, because we're probably going to program some NPCs that do it. Not sure we're going to do them themed after Fallout, but a couple of my buddies have been talking about they kind of want to see that type of stuff in Minecraft, and especially with all the really heavy monster mods we have. It would fit in really well. So let me go ahead and output this code here, and that way I can go ahead and copy it down into the actual code. Once again, I don't have systems built up to just go ahead and implement things like this right away. The plan is eventually where you'll be able to just hit save and it'll save everything. So it's -2, -2, 3, -4. Actually, conveniently, we can just do that. This would be 0.3, -0.4. There we go. So that's nice. So we got first, we get equipped, we got entity. We got to do the missile still. This is going to be... Actually, we can test that right now. We won't be able to actually see if it's rendering properly though. That's actually, is this even... That's not even functional. You know what? I don't think I can fire any of these. You notice how they don't have engines in them? That's a defect of the new design. Why I know I say defect instead of bug because it's a design flaw rather than a functionality problem where it'll crash the game. But it does mean you can't fire these out of the creative menu, so I have to fix that. That's real easy to actually do. So that'll be, I believe, item missile, maybe? No, I think it's in missile itself. So let's go find the missile object. So content, missile. Okay, that's what we need to edit here later to get the rest of the renders working. So content, missiles. I want to say data, and then missile. By the way, another thing to load, I am looking for people to potentially take over a couple of these mods. That is contingent, though, with the person whoever takes them over has to be able to actually work on the mods. But, yeah, with the whole situation I'm in, there's a high possibility that I may no longer be able to work on a lot of these, and I'd rather not see a lot of these mods die. So let's see... Probably be quick about this. I can hear my ride actually waking up and moving around. Hopefully he decides he wants to be mobile because I rely on him to actually get driving around considering my eyesight sucks. So warhead missile.setEngine. I guess we could just randomize engines here, or we could... How are we going to do this actually? So we need an iEngine class. We'll just do it this way. Engines.creativeengine.newModular. And then we'll go and set the guidance to missile.setEngine, or set guidance actually. Guidance, I think it's just guidance or guidance systems. Guidance modulars. Now this is going to be JSON driven here later, so this is going to be a little weird to have to fix. Chip tier 3 new modular. Okay. So that'll work. We'll go ahead and document this too. Even if it sounds a little stupid when you document code, it's always a good idea to just do it anyways. Because one of the biggest things it does is it makes this code just flat out easier to read. Because you know, say you got to break in the color scheme, it actually makes your eyes follow the code a little quicker. It's a little nubbish when you have to think about it though, because I mean it's like this stuff is all obvious for anybody who's ever done coding. It's each one of these is just a set behavior. So you got your creation, your set, and then you have an exploratory function that just tries to find the first available item. To be honest, I probably need to find the best available one as well, because by the way, this crate missile is only used by a few different functions. Actually, I think this one's not even used by what I need it for. Let's actually go check real quick. Yeah, I think I just wasted a couple minutes of time there. Yeah, so this is what I want to work on here. Good thing is I can actually just go down here and copy and paste code. So what I want to do is update the creative tab. Set warhead. And you notice how I got that same thing. I got create warhead and create missile, everything here, add to list. The documentation may sound weird when you're sitting there going through it, but doing this it saves you so much time. Because you don't have to question what's going on. You just go, oh yeah, my documentation says this is set warhead, so therefore I'm setting the warhead. This isn't my exact intention of my design. It's not, well, we're calling set warhead because we want to change the explosive. There actually is cases where somebody could have done that, and it could be valid. Anyways, we can just hit reload, and I think it will fix it. Well, maybe. We got an access denied on one of the files. When that happens, sometimes you get it, it refuses the reload. But oh well. We'll go ahead and restart and see if we can get the missile to fire, and then we'll check to see what's up with the icon, and then hopefully that'll be done by then, because I gotta leave here in a few seconds. So yeah, be quick about this. Probably yell at my brother for not doing laundry here actually in a second. That's what it sounds like he's doing, is digging through the laundry. Going like, why is there no clothes? Damn. Shout out to that guy. I love your guys' support from Patreon. I know it feels weird for me to ask money because I'm one of those people that never likes to. It even says that in my Patreon description. I'd just rather, if I could, avoid asking for money. But I have hit one of those situations where I'm running out of options. This is especially contingent with the fact that the rest of my family is not exactly willing to give me money. Especially since they consider both me and my brother kind of, I want to say degenerates. Because they expected both me and my brother to become engineers. My brother's now going into the medical field, and I'm now becoming a software developer, although I use the title of software engineer to kind of lessen the blow when they ask what I do for a living. They actually expected me to become an electrical engineer and work at a power plant for most of my life. Even though that was never my intention. My dream was to always go work for NASA, is what my original dream was. It never happened, and it wasn't because I actually couldn't do the engineering. I actually could do it just fine. It's just I did it and did it again and again and again, and I got bored, pretty much. It was one of those things where it was not enjoyable whatsoever. Anyways, let me grab the rocket launcher, and let me see if we get some engines here. Yes, we do have engines. Now, we have the anti-grav engine, and we have the improved guidance system, which should help a little bit here. Now, let's try to find... I guess we'll do the pig zombie. Oh yeah, the render code works. We have the crashed missile code not working now. This is where I said we have to go through the blocks and stuff and figure out what's up. Actually, we're having some problems with all the renders. Yeah, so the entity render isn't working properly. This could be a synchronization problem. And I actually think that's exactly what it is. So when the missile entity is fired, it's synchronized with what type it is. And our type system was enum based, so we knew we only had 5 types of missile that we were ever going to fire. Now that's changed. Now we have an infinite number of missiles we could be firing, but it's not synchronizing any of the missile data. This is pretty easy to fix. All I have to do is save the missile and then send it to the client, and then it'll fix. So we no longer have this pink texture thing. Now I might note the reason that's pink, by the way, is it is missing texture, and that's because I moved the texture for the default missile to the skin package. Because we actually are going to take a lot of the we're going to take a lot of the smaller ICBM classic missiles, and we're going to throw them into the original mod as decorative skins for the small missile. So you'll be able to go into the small missile and you'll be able to select from a series of skins from the old version, and it'll act as nostalgia. My note, some of these skins are going to be unlockable, so there'll be things that you'll have to probably go find in the world. For those who are worried, I'm never probably going to do paid for promotional skins. It's just not something we're going to do, especially since my sponsor told me no. They didn't want to see that happen in the mod because they didn't want to support a mod that did that. we'll have to work on that though, because there is a plan for the Armory mod to maybe have something like that, but it won't be bad. It'll be kind of like, it'll be probably through the through Mojang's marketplace is what it'll probably be. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it though. So, well, I guess we got a few more minutes to work on the icons here. So let's figure out what's up with the icon, and I'll do the entity stuff later because I need to do a I need to bring the display table back so I can hover the missile above the display table so I can actually check what's wrong with its render. But we got to figure out what's up with the item render code. Now this should be, let me check, make sure we got no get icons in here. We got a get caller, which is fine. Actually, looking at this, oh, let me pop this back up. The overlay icons aren't working properly. We're getting like flat out pink squares. Now, even if we have the pink squares, what we should be seeing is we should still be seeing the explosive overlay icons, but they're not there. I mean, it's getting the explosive right, so it knows it's a pig zombie or ghast or stuff. So it understands what it is. So that tells me the client has the information. But maybe it's, yeah, it's going to be the get icon code we're missing. Because I kept the caller code, I kept the render pass code, but I deleted the get icon code, and I forgot the get icon code actually has two purposes in the system. But first things first, let's go ahead and fix our super version. Is that the, okay, let me make sure that this is the only item right here that I'm looking at. So let me go ahead and close the creative tab, and yeah, we'll just do that down here. So that way, if I put a marker here, it's not even working. Okay. That's weird. I should be getting something there. I am getting something here. Why am I not getting anything here? Okay. Get render key. Inventory render key dot. Okay, so it's okay. Maybe we want to go down here. Shoot, I messed up. We want to go down here. Then we want to click the Go In button, which then brings us up to the meta, then the pass. So I don't want the metadata in pass. So there's something wrong with this section of code, or not this one, but this one, that is not doing what we expect. So it wants a render key. And of course we don't have a render key. And there's a misspell in there. This is just an oversight on my part. Weird thing is this part isn't working though. And I don't understand why, because this one should be functional. This one grabs the render key for the uses remaining. Okay. Let's change this up. So we need to make sure we have data, but the render key isn't important until we get down to here. And we don't want to make it null because, well, we're going to run into our current situation. What we want to do instead is we're going to go, okay, if render key doesn't equal null, then we say, okay, use the render key. If not, don't do anything. And that's one of those little classic things you can do with string additions here. So you can go, okay, if I have a key, utilize this section. If I don't have a key, utilize this section and add it to my current string. And that'll work out really well. And yeah, we should be able to reload and it should just start functioning again. Hit play while I'm at it. Yep, there we go. See the icon down in the corner? So it's functioning again. And now if I go to that tab, it's working. Now the overlay icons are still broken, and this has to do with the fact that I have to fix that system. It's cool to kind of see the missiles colored. I actually might play with this more. We already do have plans for RGB missiles, but I might actually go a little bit further than that and toy around with it. And of course, you notice how all these are incorrect icon renders. This has to do with, once again, I think the creative tab system is not set up correctly. Let's take a look at that one since I do have a couple more minutes to burn up here. Okay, I'm in the wrong class file for one. So we're going to go to the missile one here and we're going to look at subtypes. So we got size.get default missile casing. Now for some reason it's grabbing only one size. Okay, so it's going, okay, if we have stuff, then make sure you add all the casings to the system. And then grab the default casing. You know what we're doing? This needs to change. Technically. There's a problem with how this is functioning, sort of. Let me take a look at this. So we set our default casing, which I think is probably coming up null at some point. Yeah, let's do this way. If missile.data equals null, then we want to just print out something, so that way we can get a debug line here. And then how this works is if I close the creative tab and I reopen it, it'll initially come back out. Okay, yeah, so the data is null. And what size are we currently at? We're at size small, so yeah, it's just flat out failing to grab the default casing size, which doesn't make. Oh, actually, that makes perfect sense. I know how to fix this. So we know why that's doing what it's doing. So I'll fix that later. So what's going on is the naming scheme is incorrect, and I've already figured out a way to fix this. So what I was doing is I was insisting that all the missiles need to be named the size, then missile after them, and I only changed the micro missile for that. So the micro missile's name is actually ICBM micro, then missile. But the rest of it, if we go down to the content package here, is not updated yet. So if you go to small, it's still called small. And the code looks for the name, then this part right here. It's what it looks for. And of course it's not finding that, so it's going, hey, we got no default missile. Now what I need to do is I actually need to create a tag in here that's called default, and then true. This will allow other people to define default missiles, but of course I still want to change the name here. But I'll get to all this stuff later. The last things to do is fix the icons here, so that way we get our overlay icons back again. So this is pretty simplistic. I just literally have to open up GitHub here and just grab up some code. Okay, so let's see. Started watching a lot of like those Star Wars videos. Not quite sure where I'm heading with those, but they're cool concepts. So as long as we're in the master branch, I should be able to just flat out go right to where the code is. Because I actually have made a separate branch for what I'm working on, so I'm working on the missile JSON stuff. And I'm not going to merge it in, that way I can make bug fixes if you guys find some major problems before I get done with what I'm doing. So we're content, missiles, item, missile. Now what I did is I deleted the icon system without really sitting there and reading over. This is one of those things where attention to details is important. So there's get icon from damage, but here's get icon. This is the part. So if we're overpass such and such, we need to make sure that we're using what the code we're supposed to be using. And let me make sure I put this next to where everything else is at. Yeah, I guess we're just putting all the render code at the top. Now, unfortunately, I am going to have to figure out a way around this system. And, oh, did I delete the empty icon? Awkward. I really need to read my code more before I start clicking the delete button. Thought that'd be a lesson for those who are trying to be mod developers. Actually, let me lesson for anybody being a developer, because imagine if you were working for a banking app and you deleted a piece of code and all of a sudden everybody got $1 million. I know everybody'd be happy, but the bank doesn't have that much money. That was, by the way, the reason I brought that question up is that is actually a question I've had on an interview, is what would happen if you accidentally deleted this piece of code and all of a sudden everybody got a free dollar is what they actually did. And it's like, well, that doesn't sound like a horrible thing, is what one of the other interviews that you was doing, because they were doing like a mock conversation back and forth and trying to get me to elicit a response of saying, yeah, that's not a good idea. And I, of course, gave two answers. From a coding point of view, it's like we got to fix the problem. From a legal point of view, you can't do anything. You already gave $1 away to everybody. If you could try to retract the dollar from everybody's account, but people might get upset about it. I guess you could just retract the dollar from everybody's account. It probably worked just fine. But my response was, yeah, fix the coding mistake, ensure it never happens again. So solid, rigid testing policies, and then talk to your management or legal department about how to proceed with the corrective logic to reverse the action. But yeah, so empty icons registered, and actually, is the super.register icon even, or super method even used? It actually surprisingly is. So we're gonna go ahead and put that there. Don't really need it, but it's there. Anyways, we'll go ahead and launch up one more time, and this will be the last time launching because I have to head out, as my appointment is... Where's, if I can find my calendar. I got a calendar in my phone, but it's like probably not the easiest thing to use. I need to get around to developing Android apps. That actually might be the best solution here for making money when it comes to, so I don't have to ask you guys for money all the time, is I could just make a couple Android apps and maybe sell them for like 50 cents or something. And even if it doesn't sound like much, but you got to think like Android marketplace, an app is almost guaranteed to sell 1,000 copies. It's kind of how it works when you've got like, what is it, 1 billion people with Android devices or something like that. It's ridiculous how many people actually have Android phones. And Apple thinks they're superior. The downside with Apple, I actually I'm not ragging on Apple, because Apple actually makes some pretty cool products, or at least they used to once upon a time. I don't know anything about their newer stuff. They have a very exclusive niche market. That means they don't reach out to a huge audience. Now, you see a lot of people with Apple phones still, but the thing with Android is it's global. You find people with Android phones everywhere, and you find so many different companies making them that you may be holding an Android phone in your hand and you just don't even flat know, because there's only like 3 major operating systems right now: the Windows operating system, the Apple one, and then the Android. And the Android is a Linux type system, so if you want to go back to the Windows, Mac, and Linux behavior, that is a thing. Okay, so we got our overlay icons back, but something broke? What broke in the logic? That's what broke in the logic. Is we actually need to call get icon stack pass. So it needs to be the super version. Still not quite sure why we're not getting that other method call through. It's probably because it has to be the item using version. There we go, it fixed. So we got all of our icons back, that's cool. And now you see it's actually starting to use the correct small ones. Since we fixed the small, we're getting all the icon breakage. But now we have all of our overlays back, and this is JSON driven. This is almost entirely JSON driven, but a little bit more work to do, but we're getting there. So this means somebody can come in, and if they want to make a new missile, they can, and it's really easy. So you don't have to be a developer, you don't have to know code. If you're an artist who knows how to model and texture, you can just go ahead and make a missile and then put it into a file and then throw it in your mods folder. Of course, you have to follow a format for it, which is up on the GitHub, but that's all you have to do. So anyways, I'll see you guys later with more code, and hopefully I don't get messed up at the dentist and can make a couple more videos this weekend and get this finished, so that way you guys can utilize this monster here, which will... I don't even know what we're going to do with the destructive capability yet. We've just been hypothesizing just how much power is going to be through here. Not to mention the fuel tank itself, if it has fuel left over, when you impact, itself is going to detonate with enough force to probably wipe out a small area around here. It'll probably set the area on fire as well. The tail section stage separation, by the way, will fall back to the planet as well. That's another feature that's going to be implemented. We're not sure how we're going to do this one precisely, but it's going to be implemented. So anyways, I'll see you guys later.